don't like my name, give my son his own name. That's what I did. But not only that, my son's whole name is Jasani Daryl Ray Daniel. Is your son's whole name not in that name? Jasani Daryl Ray Daniel. He's not him. Oh, my house is getting foreclosure.
Because my son died.
It don't matter.
If I'm dead, so why you keep on sleeping with me? Why? I'm pregnant again. Why?
You can sleep with somebody else, man. Then you got low self-esteem.
Ladies, you guys want to hear the case?
Let's get some order. Let's get some order.
A bishop and pastor stands accused of fathering a child with a woman 28 years younger than him. But this man of God says that never happened and that his accuser, Ms. Webster, was involved with 3 other men who may be her child's father.
First, explain to the court, how did this all start between you and Ms. Webster?
It started with me leaving an assignment that I had in Jacksonville, moving to Buffalo, New York, to take on a new assignment as a pastor. So my bishop.
Well, that is new. Bishop House here is a man of God, but he also has manly needs, so he did the only sensible thing about his manly needs. He got involved with a woman nearly 3 decades younger than him, and he didn't use protection. And as you know, it gets crazier.
So then like a Bible study thing, but instead of that, it was like more, it led on to sexual, unprotected sex instead.
I didn't meet her at a church. I met her at a fast food joint.
Really? You are going to bring up the Bible now, Bishop House? That is what you are going to do? Okay, that is crazy. So she says he met at church, and he says he met her at a fast food joint, and there is more.
More than a sexual relationship?
No,
or
it was just a hookup.
Just a hookup.
It was a booty call.
And you agreed with that it was just...
Not only with me, with 3 other people
It was
as well.
just a sexual
It was just
relationship.
a sexual relationship.
Casual.
This is crazy. So Ms. Webster wasn't just giving it up to the pastor. She was also making sure other people got a share, and she even almost got into a long-term relationship with one of the other people. But did this man know about Bishop House?
Start sleeping with Mr. House. Did you know that? You knew?
No, I had no idea.
And so, Ms. Webster, you seem like you the only person in the know.
Oh, so Bishop House was basically a sugar daddy, and now he might be an actual daddy for real. While Mr. Miles John, on the other hand, thought he had a faithful girlfriend that he could build a relationship with. Now, how did the sugar daddy bishop find out that he might have a baby?
Just found out less than 30 days ago at the most that she had a baby. Her auntie called my superiors in my organization, and I got a phone call saying there's some woman saying that you left her with child in New York.
Wait, what? So Ms. Webster did not even contact the bishop to tell him that he might be the father of her child? And he only just learned about this 30 days ago? Wow, no wonder he thinks he isn't the father. Any sane person would think the same too. Now, when did she tell Mr. Malzone?
Said to me, I'm pregnant. I said, really? I said, how long? She was like, I'm about 5 to 6 months. I said, so you trying to tell me that it's mine? She said,
5 to 6 months before you told him?
This is just so messy. Okay, now it is time for the billion-dollar question. Whose name is on the birth certificate? It cannot be Bishop House's name because he just learned he might be the father. So was it Mr. Miles Jones' name?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing listed under the name of father.
Thank you.
But you made her last name Miles Jones.
that's my last name.
Yes.
Wow. So Mr. Miles Jones gave the baby his last name, and he was there when she was born. But for some reason, he did not go on the birth certificate. Now Bishop House thinks there is no reason he had to be here.
You contact me if you was all happy family.
Because there was a possibility.
Possibility.
Why would I not? I want to know who my baby father is. Why not call you and
I'm
let you
just
know?
saying, sit.
Well, Bishop House may not seem like the most righteous guy in the world, but he is right here. There is one other possibility, and there is a very real chance that none of the men in court today fathered this baby. Well, here are the results, and they will blow your mind.
Mr. Miles Jones, you are not her father. Mr. House, it has been determined by this court that you are not her father.
Mr. Rasmussen wants to be the father of Zaylie Rasmussen, but the child's mother, Ms. Miller, says he should go on a rock-kicking adventure because this kid isn't his. And here is how it all begins.
You've been there for your daughter her entire life, and you're here today to prove you are Zaylie's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Rasmussen, why is Ms. Miller saying?
Well, Ms. Miller has another opinion about how this case is going to go down. First, she is going to prove that he isn't the father of Zaylie. Then she is going to tell the court all about his cheating adventures.
I'm mad at him for being a cheater. He cheated on me through pretty much our whole relationship. No, I do not hate him because of that. I lost my respect for him, yes.
This is a totally strange sight on Paternity Court. A man who loves his child, drives miles to see her every weekend, and pays his child support payment on time. That is a rare find. But that does not matter to Ms. Miller. She could care less about all of that, actually. In fact, Mr. Rasmussen says she does not spend those child support checks well, actually.
Very much to get what she needs.
Is it enough to buy her clothes so she doesn't have to wear cut-off sweatpants and the same t-shirt every time I pick her up?
I do that because...
Okay, well, let us get down to business then. Ms. Miller thinks the child does not belong to Mr. Rasmussen. She must have pretty good reasons to believe this, right? Let us find out.
She was conceived in March of 2011. He wasn't even in the same state. He was in Vegas. And at that time in March, I wasn't even with him.
Exactly. So how did that happen? It is either Mr. Rasmussen is the most delusional man in the world, or Ms. Miller, at some point, led him to believe that he was the only possible father of her baby, and that is why he is now on the hook for child support.
Miss Miller brings it up that I could possibly not be the father because of another man that was involved, and she gave some date. I can't remember the specifics.
This is crazy. This means that throughout the pregnancy and up until the baby was 5 to 6 months old, Mr. Rasmussen believed that he was the only possible father. And now Ms. Miller is telling him something else, especially as she made him sign the birth certificate.
Hospital in less than 35 minutes. I beat her to the hospital, and I was there from the moment she got there to the moment she was discharged. I called my boss at work and said, hey, I gotta take some days off. I don't care if you fire me or whatever.
Wow, Mr. Rasmussen does sound really convincing here. And at this point, we are probably hoping that the DNA test results find that he is the father. But that isn't how paternity court works, and things are not so simple. Here are more details.
Exactly. You let him sign the birth certificate.
I gave my daughter my last name.
Because we were engaged, and I thought we were going to get married. I thought we were going to have a happy life and raise...
Oh, now we are getting to it. Ms. Miller was content to lie to Mr. Rasmussen that he was the father of her baby when she believed that they were going to get married. But when it turned out that that wasn't true, she started singing a different tune, and that is why we are here. Okay then, if Mr. Rasmussen isn't the real father, where is the real father?
Tried to find him, I have tried to get a hold of him, and I can't find him.
But you keep saying, Mr. Rasmussen cheated, he did this, he did that. And as wrong as that may be, you also slept with somebody else.
Wait, so Ms. Miller does not even know where the real father might be? So she is perfectly willing to just become a single mother and not tell her child who her father is just to spite Mr. Rasmussen? What is going on here? And then it gets worse.
Why was it that you were keeping this information so close to your hip until 5-6 months after Zaylie was born?
The more she grew up, the more I started...
This is such a crazy case, and what is even crazier is the results. Now, Judge Lake is going to read it out, and we are going to find out whether Zaylie has a present father, or she will have to deal with having a deadbeat for the rest of her life.
Mr. Rasmussen, you are not the father. Miss Miller.
Be respectful.
I'm sorry.
Miss Miller.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve.
Mr. White is convinced that his wife cheated on him barely a week after they got married, and now says that the product of that cheating cannot be his kid. Mrs. White, on the other hand, says this is a huge lie.
You've cheated in the past, but hope once the results are revealed, your husband will trust you again. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. White, you claim...
Wow, what an opening. And Mr. White is correct. Savannah has the right to know who her father is, and he also has the right to know if this child really belongs to him. And there are even more crazy details.
She was having an ex-boyfriend come over while I was at work. I had neighbors tell me he was coming over, and then I started doing the snooping on Facebook, seeing where his location was, looking through her.
Really? So Mr. White is saying that this is not just a one-time thing. He is saying he has caught her cheating on multiple occasions, and he is sure that she slept with this ex-boyfriend of hers. Here is what Mrs. White thinks.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. White, have you been cheating?
Yes, but I have abandonment issues because I was adopted. So if he's not showing me the love and affection that I need.
We have heard a lot of insane excuses for cheating in paternity court, and this one right here is one of the worst. If you have abandonment issues, adopt a puppy. So Mrs. White thought it was right to cheat because she had abandonment issues and her husband was not holding her hands in public? Really? Let us get more details on that.
So you got married young.
Yes.
And did you start cheating?
Yes.
Mr. White, when did you find this out?
I didn't find out for sure until she admittedly told me.
Wow, this must be hell for Mr. White, to find out that a baby you loved and cared for the first 6 months of your life might not be your kid is definitely one of the worst feelings in the world, and his world must be crashing down around him. But somehow it is going to get worse here.
For the kids.
Do you have any other reason to believe that your wife cheated other times?
I have text messages proof right here.
This is crazy. There is no clearer proof than this. Mrs. White was indeed getting involved with other men. The only question now is why? Why the heck was she texting a strange man these things? Here is what she had to say for herself.
He's so quiet. Why are you texting your ex-boyfriend these things?
Because he don't treat me right. Like,
your body is naked, wishing you were in the bed. Which bed?
What do you mean there is one more text? Was Mrs. White just giving it up to everyone and anyone who wanted to get it? Because there is no way she is being this generous with her body while she has a husband.
It says, you can bring me some cigs, LOL, Al's a blank, and give me a Valentine's Day treat. Cause Al not gonna do.
Yup, that is right. Mr. White here is just being used for his money, and Mrs. White does not care at all. This makes you kind of wish he isn't even the child's father, because this woman is one horrible lady, and it gets worse.
Please tell me that this is the only evidence you have. You just have these text messages?
So I have pictures of her sexting people.
Pictures? I'm afraid to look, Jerome.
Whew, a picture that we cannot even show in court. That is insane. Was she even married to Mr. White at all, or did she just live in the same house as he did? Here is what Mrs. White has to say.
Valentine's Day, we just sat there and talked. That's all we did on Valentine's Day.
He sends you a picture of his penis and you go over and talk?
Yeah.
Jerome, they must have changed my name to Boo Boo the.
Well, she says mistakes happen, and that she usually doesn't do this. So I guess we have no choice but to trust her, right? Let us see who the father of this child is. Is it Mr. White or one of Mrs. White's numerous partners?
Mr. White, you are her father. How do you feel?
I feel happy.
How do you feel, Ms. White?
Relieved. Because he's a great dad and I want him to be all of my children's father.
Mr. Belding thinks that his girlfriend's kid may actually belong to his father and not him. His girlfriend says that is nonsense, but the evidence that Mr. Belding has seems kind of convincing. Here is how it starts.
You're here with your mother. You claim little Jordan's biological father may be your own father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Whoa.
Wait, what? Are we getting this right, chat? Mr. Belding Senar moved in with his son's girlfriend because he had no place to go. Is that really the story we are going with? And then he lived on and off with her for 3 years? Really? Here is what Ms. Marsh says.
My mom, as a matter of fact, and he slept in a totally different room. It was a 3-bedroom house. We never slept in the
first
same
house.
room.
Yeah.
And
There's
we've
been
always
several.
had more than 3 rooms.
Okay, but I have to ask, Ms. Marsh.
What? This case just gets nastier and nastier the longer it crawls on. So Mr. Belding JNR thinks that not only has his wife slept with his father, and he might be the father of his child, but his friends have also hit that honeypot? Is this some sort of South Park episode?
She thinks Zach's the dad, but he can't do nothing with her. He's not allowed.
And yes, she did let me in one time to see Jordan.
3
but
times.
any other times, she slammed the door in my face.
Except for the night you spent the night and you had sex.
Okay, now we are getting somewhere. So there was another man in the hospital when Ms. Marsh gave birth to her kid, but Ms. Marsh says she would never ever get with that man and he was just there as a supportive friend. Really? Is that the story we are going with here? And it gets worse.
Father, why did she have another man sign the birth certificate?
Excuse me, ma'am, I have the birth certificate. I have the birth certificate right here. Birth certificate's right here, and there is no other man on
Okay,
this
can I
birth
say it's
certificate.
because she lies to us all the
This is about the messiest case we have ever seen on this court. Ms. Marsh says that the only problem here is that Mr. Belding JNR is a mummy's boy, and in fact the birth certificate doesn't show that any other man's name. But that does not satisfy Mr. Belding JNR and his mom.
Introduce you to her.
She did?
She's hallucinating because she was drunk when she showed up to the delivery room.
That's a lie. Your Honor, that's not what happened.
Yes,
that's
that
a
is
total
what
lie.
happened. We can
I
call
walked
Mom.
the hospital with her.
Yeah, Mrs. Belding, but she was 14 at the time. There is no way you are bringing up a story from when she was 14 to justify the fact that she walks around the house half naked today. That doesn't even make a glimmer of sense. That is basically insane. Anyway, here is what Mr. Belding Senar thinks about all of this.
Slept in the bed together multiple times.
Hold hold on. So, Ms. Marsh,
Multiple times.
you said it was different rooms in your testimony earlier.
Yes, in my 3-bedroom apartment, it was different rooms.
Yeah, and you just had to make it weird. There was absolutely no reason to add that tidbit there, Ms. Marsh, but you still did because you are kind of nasty. Anyway, Mrs. Marsh has her own witnesses, and this is what they think of the whole situation.
You are Ms. Marsh's
boyfriend,
and you've been helping her raise Jordan?
every day,
Every day?
every single day.
Good job.
I'm daddy.
Phew, what? So Mr. Belding JNR here is saying that he slept with Ms. Marsh less than 2 months ago, and therefore she cheated on her boyfriend. But she says that is a huge fat lie. So someone here must be lying. And of course, Mrs. Belding has something to say about that.
Men like you go through toilet paper, honey.
Yep.
Ask Matt Belding. He
lived-
can testify
he's
that
lived with
she's
her.
a hoe.
Oh, hold on, Miss.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
This guy, 2 months out of nowhere, thinks he's the father of what could be my baby.
This is so confusing. Does Mr. Belding JNR think this is his baby or not? Because right now it looks like he is just mad that this other dude has stepped up to be the father of this child. Anyway, we have the DNA test results right here, and this is what they say.
Mr. Belding Jr., you are her father.
Thank you.
That's my baby.
That's our baby.
That's my baby. Not yours.
I think so.
Mine. Ms. Whitman is being completely honest here today. She says she cheated on the man she loves with the defendant, Mr. Anderson, and is just here to find out whether Mr. Anderson is the father of her baby or not.
Hey, you're here to determine the paternity of your 1-month-old daughter, Michaela, in hopes of saving your relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Anderson, you say you knew Ms. Whitman was in a relationship when you slept with her, yet
Well, at least she is honest. She knows that she cheated, and she knows that her baby may not belong to her lover, Mr. Mapson. That is good news, right? But not totally. You see, this case is more complicated than you think.
Well, me and Mr. Mitchell met at a bus station when I was coming from Chicago to Arkansas. And we kind of like kicked it off quick and became girlfriend and boyfriend.
Kids these days are just crazy. What do you mean you may have a child with someone who is supposed to be a friend with benefits? Have you ever heard of the term protection, Ms. Whitman? Ever? But Mr. Anderson, who slept with her without protection, also has doubts.
Because I know she was sleeping with other men besides me.
specifically, how do you know that?
Because I've seen them up there, Your Honor.
Up where?
Me.
Okay, Ms. Whitman, this is insane work. So not only did you cheat on the man you say you love with another man, you also cheated on him with the cousin of the man you were cheating on him with? Please say it ain't so, Ms. Whitman.
I know who his cousin is, but his cousin did not stay a week.
Well, how long did he stay?
His cousin never stayed at my house, period.
Was he at your house?
He came there,
Did you
yes.
sleep with him?
No, I did not. His cousin liked it, me.
There are two cousins? There is no way this is real, right? Mr. Anderson has to be making most of this up because there is no way that what he is saying is even a tiny bit true. This is just crazy. Let us hear from Mr. Mapson. What does he think?
Conditions, because of our relationship, it was a long distance relationship. And after a while, you know how long distance relationship is.
Did you show up to the hospital and...
Yeah, you can see that Mr. Mapson is embarrassed that he did not show up, but can you blame him? He knew that there was a decent chance he was not the father of the baby. Why would he show up if he knew that was possible? Of course, this meant Miss Whitman went through the whole 9 months alone.
Went through the whole birth alone, the whole 9 months. He even stopped talking to me, and I couldn't get a hold of Mr. Anderson because he blocked all communications.
Okay, that is a good excuse, but you should also have known that might happen when you decided to mess with two men without protection at the same time and create a paternity issue for yourself. So no sympathy here, Ms. Whitman. What is the way forward for Ms. Whitman now? What does she think?
Who's Mr. Masson, but I'm afraid that if he's not the father, our relationship is basically over.
So, Mr. Mapson, are you willing to work on this relationship if, in fact, it's determined that...
So, Ms. Whitman is probably hoping that this child belongs to Mr. Mapson, but if the baby doesn't, then the other father has to be Mr. Anderson. And what does Mr. Anderson think about that possibility? Let us find out.
I've been through so much. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know what I went through before I got here.
What are you feeling now?
I'm feeling pain.
If Mr. Anderson turns out to be the baby daddy, he would have a baby with a woman he doesn't want to be with who also does not want to be with him. That is such a toxic situation for a child to grow up in. But what if the baby belongs to someone else aside from Mr. Mapson and Mr. Anderson?
Chance that neither one of these gentlemen
No,
is the
Your
father
Honor.
of your child?
No, Your Honor, there's no chance that anybody else could be the father.
So you are positive?
Yes, Your Honor.
That there is absolutely no other possibility?
Well, she says she was not sleeping with anyone else, so we kind of have to believe her, right? Let us see what the DNA test results have to tell us. Is the father Mr. Anderson or Mr. Mapson, or is there someone else? Let us find out.
Mr. Anderson, you are not her father.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I knew it all the time. All that stuff you've done to me.
Mr. Dark says his girlfriend stepped out on their relationship to have a one-night stand, and now she is saying that he is the father of her 11-month-old baby. Mr. Dark says that this is impossible. Well, it is just impossible. Here is how the whole thing went down.
Dark, you say the defendant is a promiscuous liar who broke your heart 4 years ago, stepping out on your then relationship.
Okay, we've got ourselves a case today. Mr. Dark is a billion% certain this isn't his kid, and that Ms. Bailey is just a promiscuous woman playing a game. And here is his evidence for that.
Out of town to do some work. I was working out of town, out of state, as a matter of fact. I went to Florida to do some work in Florida. While I was going to Florida to do some work, I talked to Ms. Bailey about almost every day. I was gone for about 3 or 4 days, you know.
Wait, hold on a minute. Imagine getting home from a work trip and someone told you that the whole time you were gone, your woman was cheating on you. That is the sort of thing that would make you crash out, and it is going to get even worse.
I only did it because I thought you was cheating on me.
Okay, but...
So you admit you cheated on him?
I did.
Okay, and so your best friend told on you?
Yep.
Oh no, Mr. Dark. That is exactly how you end up on paternity court. If you are still seeing a woman you think cheated on you, you are eventually going to run into some pretty crazy problems. And they didn't use protection all this while. But Mr. Dark says the math doesn't add up.
Marcus, this doesn't add up.
No, ma'am, no kind of way.
Because you weren't intimate until at least the 2nd week of March. And
the first week, around the 6th or 7th of March.
Well, if you put it like that, yes, you might have been a crutch. But this cannot be the full story, right? Ms. Bailey must have something to say for herself here, right? Please tell me she has something to say for herself.
Like, what's upsetting you?
And the reason why I signed the birth certificate, to answer your question, is because you told me at the hospital that if I didn't sign it right then I wouldn't have another opportunity to sign it. That's what you told me right there at the hospital.
Wow, what? So she has had paternity disputes about her 3 other kids that she cares for by herself? That is insane. No wonder she is crying. This just seems like too much for her to handle. And now, Judge Lake asks the important question.
Intimate in February during the window of conception we outlined between February 17th to February 24th.
No, ma'am.
No.
Both of you said no.
Well, the baby definitely has a father, so if she was not intimate with someone during the window of conception, then who could the father possibly be? Ms. Bailey insists that it has to be Mr. Dark, and Mr. Dark is thinking no way. Now let us hear from their witnesses.
What relationship to Mr. Dark?
I'm his current girlfriend, and I'm pregnant with his child.
Girlfriend.
Okay, what would you like to tell the court?
Well, first, in my personal opinion.
Wait, what does that even mean? Anyway, Ms. Bailey insists that Mr. Dark was the only man she was sleeping with, and she wasn't with any other man during that period. But Mr. Dark has a clever counter to that.
Was the only person that I was having sex with.
Yeah, you said this the same to the previous guy. You told him the same exact thing. You was the only person. History of attached men.
Yeah, of course he was. Did you hear that stutter? He was definitely doing that, and no one is happier than Ms. Bailey to bring it up. But Mr. Dark says that is a whole lie, and he even has some evidence to prove it.
I got text messages that I done showed to my girl when she wasn't even here, showing with Jessica like, oh, it's just me and Jameer tonight. You want to come watch a movie with us?
This just shows how crazy decisions by parents can mess the lives of their kids up. The good news is that this paternity question can be resolved and will be resolved today. Now it is finally time to find out who the father of baby Jameer is.
Mr. Dark, you are the father.
I told you that he was yours.
Your word ain't, man.
Okay.
So listen, when I first told you you were the father, Mr. Dark, I saw genuine emotion on your face.